Good day, Father Matt Williams here. I'm actually on my way up to Immaculate Conception in Salem, Mass. to meet about 50 high school teens who will be going through a retreat this weekend, as they will be leaders on the upcoming Hunger for Justice retreat experience during the Holy Week weekend. I want to share with you some words from the Gospel today. The Gospel today from St. Luke chapter 15, Jesus tells us a story about the Prodigal Son. And one of the parts I love the most about the story of the Prodigal Son is after he has hit his rock bottom in life, when things couldn't get any worse, he decides, I'm going to go home. And I'm going to go home to Dad, and I'm going to say, Dad, I should no longer be called your son. I've sinned against heaven and against you. I just want to be like one of your slaves in your house. And as he's coming home, it says in the scriptures, Jesus in the parable says that the father sees him from a far distance. And that's a really important point. Why? Because the father is actively looking for his son. He's actively looking for his son. And Jesus tells this story to teach us something about his heavenly Father. It's a story about reconciliation. It's a story about you, me, and our heavenly Father. The reality is that when we sin, we kind of say, Father, I want to go off on my own and do my own thing. And then we hit rock bottom and we realize, I'm living in a living hell. What's a living hell? A place devoid of God's presence, of his love, of his existence. And we start to make our way back, but we don't think we're necessarily worthy of his forgiveness, but we try to negotiate with God that if we do this, that he'll forgive us. And the Father is actively drawing us back to himself. He awaits our return. And in the parable, Jesus tells us when the Son comes, the Father literally throws himself on his neck. That's what the translation means. He had thrown himself on his neck. In other words, he gave him a big hug. And then before the Son could say, Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you, the Father starts giving commands. Put a robe around his shoulders. In other words, a sign of his honor. Put a ring on his finger. A sign of the Father's authority. It's like his credit card. I'm giving you authority again, being part of my household. Put shoes, slippers on his feet. Only slaves went barefoot. The members of the family wore shoes, symbolic of being welcomed back to the family. So this son, who had basically told his dad, I wish you were dead, give me your inheritance, is welcomed back with open arms, is hugged by his dad, and is fully restored to his family. It's a great invitation for you and for me to go to reconciliation, to realize that our Father is drawing us back to his loving embrace, and that the only thing is keeping us is ourselves. We need to get over ourselves and run to the merciful embrace of our Father, who desires to pick us up, to put a robe around our shoulders, in other words, to restore us to his honor, his dignity, to invite us into his family, so that we're not slaves, but sons, but daughters, but children. So on this Saturday, the last day of the second week of Lent, I invite you, think about going to confession today and experience anew the power of God's love and mercy, what Jesus was trying to teach us in the story about the prodigal son. God bless you. Please pray for me and for all of the young people this weekend. I'll be praying for you. Have a great day.